Do you want to jam, man?
Yeah.
Okay, I remember your kitchen can be kind of warm. You don't have an air conditioner in the window in the kitchen, but it comes in from the other rooms.
Just a window fan. And what's more, I have a blanket up separating the kitchen from the living room because the air conditioner works a lot better that way, you know.
Are you using air conditioners during the day, or
I mean, the whole week has been like 90-degree weather, so
yeah.
And you know how hot these freaking New York apartments can get.
Yeah, they really do hold the heat.
Hell, even
plus you're on the second floor.
Your apartment. Now you have all of that audio gear in there. Does that bring the temperature up?
Oh yeah. Some of the hardware has tubes in it, and tubes get very hot. They're almost like heaters.
Yeah. So you have to have you have an enormous air conditioner, I remember.
Because I want the studio to be really quiet, I have an air conditioner in the other room, but there's a direct path that blows the air directly into the studio. And that air conditioner I got, it is a window air conditioner, but I got one that's very, very quiet and has a decent BTU. Is that what it's called? BTU?
Yeah. What is it? British thermal units, I think it's known as.
Right, yeah. That cools it off enough. So I'm usually good to go, and I don't have the noisy compressor right in my studio. It's actually in the other room.
I'm thinking about getting this. I saw this air conditioner that is like a portable. I think Frigidaire makes it, and it's gotten really good reviews, and it can like really cool down a big room. So I was thinking about getting one of these, and I could like move it from room to room if I want. But the only problem with the portables is you have to have a hose. But
the release valve.
The technology is getting really good, though. I mean, I remember.
You know what you could do with the hose, though? You could stick it up your.
Oh no! Obviously, we just lost the satellite feed. That sucks.
Thank you, Mr. Saltz. Always a pleasure, as usual. Now this.
Wait, is this an R-rated podcast, or is this
sure? You can say if you want. You can say because I remember when I was like a kid working in my first jobs in video stores. My friend Andrew and we were obsessed with the word because of Al Pacino and Glenn Ross, because he's got this whole soliloquy at the end of the movie where he calls Kevin Spacey a he just like turns and he goes, "You stupid fucking," It's like, and we would just be calling each other stupid fucking all day, and people would come in.
God.
Luckily, it was the Upper West Side, so it was pretty hip. So a lot of people would just laugh their asses off. This was back when you could actually.
Which
laugh.
video store was it?
It was called Flicks Video to Go. It was on 72nd and Broadway.
I definitely would have been in there at some point.
I think I was working there around 94, 95, something like that, maybe even 96. And I had a lot of customers. I had a lot of famous customers, too. There were a lot of celebrities. Roberta Flack, the singer.
Really? How was she? Was she cool?
Oh, she's lovely. Lovely human being. One of the nicest people I ever knew. I knew it was her birthday because I saw her birthday announced in the newspaper. She came in one day, and I said, "Oh, happy birthday!" And she blushed and said, "Thank you." She's really sweet person. Peter Weller, RoboCop. He was one of my customers.
Yeah. Elaine
May, the writer-director. Nice people. Carly Simon was a customer, too.
How was Carly?
She was very nice. She didn't know anything about Martin Scorsese movies, and she called and asked if I could recommend Martin Scorsese movies for her. And Scorsese is one of my gods, so And she was also very sweet. Mary
Remember
Stewart,
the first Scorsese movie you recommended to her?
The first Scorsese movie? Oh, well, I recommended Mean Streets, Taxi Driver, After Hours. it's really shocking to me that she didn't really know anything about Martin Scorsese because, I always assume that people know about at least as much as I, especially celebrities. You'd think they'd know a lot about that stuff.
Well, granted, she was in the music industry, not the film industry.
Yeah.
Did she do any acting, Carly Simon?
She did, as a matter of fact. Well, she played herself. This is so odd that you bring this up. You talk about symmetry because on my next episode of Upstairs at Fralick's that I'm doing with John Fralick, we're going to be talking about 2 John Travolta movies. One was called The Devil's Reign, which was a horror movie with William Shatner from the 70s. And the second movie is called Perfect, about a newspaper, a journalist for Rolling Stone magazine. And
When was that?
And Carly Simon has a cameo in it.
What year, roughly?
That movie came out in '85, I believe. It stars Travolta with Jamie Lee Curtis and Marilu Henner, Lorraine Newman. Jan Wenner, the actual editor of Rolling Stone, is in the movie playing himself. And, well, not himself. He's playing the editor of Rolling Stone, but I don't think it's himself. And then Carly Simon, of course, in a cameo. It's actually a pretty.
How is that movie?
It's okay. It's okay. It's a little hard to find.
Is it perfect?
No, it's not perfect. It's an interesting examination of journalistic ethics. So what else was I going to say? Oh, Mary Stuart Masterson. She was also a customer, but she always seemed to be bitchy. But she was mostly like this chick flick type. But I can't fault her because she was cranky, but she wasn't mean. She was just.
How many times did she come in? Often?
She didn't actually. I don't know that she came in. She called a lot. She was like,
okay.
Do you have this in? Oh, she got really pissed off one time because a tape got eaten in her machine, and she was really pissed off. And I was like, I'm sorry. I'll give you. Let me
ask you a question. If she called in, how did you know it was Mary Stuart Masterson? Did she say, "I'm Mary Stuart Masterson"?
No. Well, actually, in the computer, it had her listed as Mary Masterson, and I was like, "Is this the Mary Masterson?" She's like, "Yeah."
I see.
Okay. So she was a little bit, but it was the Upper West Side. We were a block away from Central Park West. A lot of rich and famous people over there. That was probably my favorite kind of job, was working at video stores, and now they don't have them anymore.
I know. It's those and record stores too. I mean, those were places where you wouldn't just go in; you would kind of hang out a little bit. You could make friends with some of the people. It was social.
Do you remember? Because we were talking about this on my show. Do you remember a video store called Kim's?
Of course.
It's
St.
like
Mark's.
Yeah, and Bleecker Street too. It was like we had a membership there, and they had anything and everything you wanted. If you couldn't find a title anywhere else, you could find it at Kim's. And I had a tape. I have one of their tape because they didn't have that many copies of one movie or something. They would only have like one of a movie, and they would actually kind of encourage that you go and dub it on your own machine. So they sold their own blank tapes. So I had a couple of Kim's video blank tapes, and I was talking about that because I taped a couple of movies: Russ Meyer's Faster Pussycat Kill Kill, George Romero's Martin, stuff like that. So back then it's not the same as it is. Everything has changed. I remember we had a video membership to Tower Video. You remember Tower?
Of course.
Yeah. These are all like.
I lived when I was living with my dad when I was young in '87 is when I moved to the city and lived with him when he was in his other apartment downtown, right across the street from Tower Records on West 4th and Broadway.
Right. Yeah.
And I was in there all the time. I mean,
yeah, they had a Laserdisc annex where you could go and buy Laserdisc. They had the video store. They had the classical music annex over there too.
It's like it seems like a different era.
Yeah,
I mean, it's when people actually went out. They weren't hooked into their phones.
Yes.
And there was sort of a community component.
Yeah.
You go out and you recognize people. It was like a gathering place, a record store,
and you met people.
Video store.
You actually met people too. You got to have conversations with them. And back then,
I even tried to pick up girls unsuccessfully.
Oh, let me tell you. Can I tell you when you are working in a video store, the girls just flock to you. They love you. Especially back then, I was a really good-looking guy back in those days.
Yeah, you were. I'm sure you were the ladies' man, and you had.
I probably hit on your sister.
Movies. No, maybe you didn't make your own movies, but
No, I did actually. But I did it with a video camera.
no, I'm not saying. I'm saying you made your own movies of your relations. No, you didn't
women?
do that.
Oh. No, I would.
I mean,
I never thought about that, but
I know you were I know you're a filmmaker and you made movies back then as well. But
I was I had a video camera. I didn't even have a video camera until like.
and you had it on a tripod in your bedroom and you filmed.
I can't. I have a lot of tapes downstairs.
You're not answering the question. Maybe you were into that.
Maybe
videotaping yourself.
I might have.
Oh, hey, by the way, Mary Stuart Masterson. You're right. She had a couple of hits in '91. Was the movie Fried Green Tomatoes.
There you go. See, she's a chick flick person.
Yeah, and '93 Benny and June. What didn't that get kind of popular?
That's right. Yeah, Johnny Depp, Aidan Quinn.
Yeah,
the Proclaimers.
What's happening with Johnny Depp? Because I the last thing I read was
his wife beat him up. I remember hearing about that. He said that men can be victims of abuse too.
Kate Moss or something, or is that old?
I think it was no. Kate's from a while back. He was. I think this girl named Amber Heard. Is that her name?
Oh, okay.
Something like that. And he was also involved with Winona Ryder and of course Kate Moss and Vanessa Paradis, who was also a model, a French model.
Wow, Amber Heard. I'm looking at her. She looks like kind of a.
She's the one who punched him or something. She like physically abused him.
Wait a second, I've seen her. She looks totally familiar. Is she an actress or a model?
She's probably more a model, but she probably does, little bits in movies or something like that.
Amber Laura Heard. She's 33 now. Definitely recognize her. Is he still with her?
I don't know. After the punching incident, would you want to hang out with a chick like that?
Yeah, but in her defense, how do we know what he did? I mean, that prompted the punching.
Well, I
can't
think
just assume that he's innocent.
I don't know much about Johnny except that he was very rowdy and violent maybe when he was younger. And he played in a band with River Phoenix, and then River Phoenix died, and I think that probably mellowed him out a little bit. Something like that.
Yeah. But the last movie I saw with him was the movie where he played the Boston gangster.
Oh, right. Yeah. Black Mass.
Yeah, Black Mass.
That's it. Black Mass. I hit on it.
And my brother loved that movie, and he loved it so much that my brother Warren, who's 3 years older than me, he loved that movie so much that he would literally make us reenact scenes from that movie. He'd be like, okay, you play this guy. And we would reenact the scene where Johnny Depp he went to the guy's house for a barbecue, and he was asking what's in the steak, and the guy said it's a secret recipe, and he said, "Oh, come on, tell me what the secret is." And the guy said, finally he lures it out of him. He says, "Okay, it's garlic and soy sauce," and then all of a sudden Johnny Depp gets this very serious look on his face, and he says, "I thought you told me it was a family secret." And the guy said, "Yeah, and he goes, "No," he said, "You told me it was a family secret, and you're working for me, and that means that you can't keep a secret." And he starts to he appears to get very angry, like he's going to do something and shoot the guy. And the guy is just sweating and squirming. Yeah. And then Johnny Depp says, I'm joking with you, I'm kidding around. So it was a great scene.
That sounds a lot like the Joe Pesci thing from Goodfellas.
I remember, yeah.
What do you mean I'm funny?
Scene. Yeah, you're right. It was probably
What do you mean? What am I, a clown? What do I amuse you? And then suddenly, you could cut the tension with a knife, and Leota's pissing his pants, and then he just tries to break through the ice, and he just says, "Get the fuck out of here, Tommy." And he's like, I had him, you stuttering prick, you.
Yeah, those are classic Scorsese scenes.
Yeah.
They almost seem like they were half improvised. I don't know how.
You know what? I think it is, because Scorsese always, when he felt confident with his actors, this is why I love Scorsese, one of the greatest directors ever. When he felt confident, he let them improvise, and he let them go off script as long as he had something. The thing I've read about Scorsese is he was much more preoccupied with the image more than the actors. So he would like he would like compose his shots like a painting practically. And you can see it. You can see it in the work. And inside that painting, you can improvise like crazy. That's what a lot of that stuff, a lot of those conversations, a lot of that dialogue that you are thinking in the back of your head. There's no way anybody wrote this. This just sounds like people talking. It sounds natural. No,
you're absolutely right. I think I've heard that about him, and there is a certain it's so real, and in some ways spontaneous feeling that there's no way it could have been absolute.
Well, yeah, it's like when we were working on our film, I was thinking a lot about Scorsese, and I was, all the stuff that you guys did in that. Actors love to improvise too. They like, like a good actor will memorize the script backwards and forwards and then kind of just throw it away. If I tell you, just throw it away. You already know the lines. Make it real. Make it sound good. You can get a good performance out of even a bad actor doing that, because you can get at least a bad actor to try and be themselves a little bit more.
To be natural, right?
Yeah, just make it sound real. Make it sound natural.
And Woody Allen is that's really his method as well. And he gives people a script, and then he wants them to actually stray from the script a little bit.
Yeah, Coppola did that too. Coppola
did he?
Yeah, he would. Actually, there's a great documentary about when he made Hearts of Apocalypse Now, and it was called Hearts of Darkness. And he's talking to somebody. I don't know who he was talking to. It might have been Crazy Dennis Hopper at that point, but he said something like, "If you know the lines, you can just throw them away, and just improvise around the lines. Make it as real as possible." Coppola's another one I admire quite a bit, but he tends to get really, he's not as grounded, I guess, as Scorsese. He has lofty goals when it comes to making films, whereas Scorsese is trying to tell a story about people he knows or something like that. You feel like when you're watching, whether it's Goodfellas or Alice Doesn't Live Here Anymore or something like that, or even Taxi Driver, that it's people he knows in some way.
The characters are very real.
And unfortunately, these days, he doesn't seem to have that magic anymore. And a lot of these great filmmakers from back in those days don't have that magic anymore.
It's funny because I'm not saying that the so-called indie art type of film is becoming less, because there's an abundance of it. But it seems like a lot of people these days want to go see Marvel movies. Like they want the big experience now if they're going to go out to see a movie.
Yeah, because it costs so much, and you think for every $1 you're paying for a ticket, which is a lot now, that you got to put it all up on the screen, visual effects and all that kind of stuff. We are going to
watch those?
Well, no. I'm not really interested, no. I liked movies, comic book movies were special when we were kids. Because they came out few and far between. Remember when the first
Spider-Man movies were great.
The Superman movie, though. The first Superman movie.
Spider-Man, yeah.
And then Batman in '89, Tim Burton's Batman. It was an event.
Yeah.
Now it's every 3 months there's a comic book movie, and it loses its value.
That's what I mean. It's very formulaic. They're fun and they're well done. The one I wanted to see actually was Black Panther, which I haven't seen. I thought that one seemed like it might have. There was a little bit of a departure.
Bronwyn watched it, and she was like, it was well made, but it was like, she really didn't care. And she likes graphic novel. She reads graphic novels and that kind of stuff, but she's not like a comic book geek or anything.
Graphic pornography?
No. What was I going to say? Oh, we are going to watch a Spider-Man movie on the weekend on Netflix, because it's on Netflix. Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. Which one is that? It's like an animated version of Spider-Man, but it's not necessarily about like Peter Parker or anything. But it got really good reviews and it got nominated for an Oscar.